Overview of RTI. For grades K through 5 math, intervention should be skill deficit-based, scaffolded to specifically align with the scope and sequence. This is nothing new. It's just to give you, here's a full-on definition of what the expectation is. Today we're only going to talk about intervention for math, okay? Math. So it has to be skill deficit-based, scaffolded, and specifically designed to the scope and sequence. What intervention groups have you serviced? I would assume if you're in here, you've been servicing Tier 2. So who plans your intervention groups? Do you plan them or the teachers? These are just things for you to think about. How are intervention materials provided to you? Did you come up with them? Did you go to your math coach in your building? What assessments were given to help you determine that specific skill deficit of your group? How did you figure out that these 5 kids go together? How did you figure out, what am I going to start with? What am I going to teach them? What did you look at? And how many students actually exited Tier 2 last year? Think about that for a minute. Did you have kids that exited? Did they exit before winter break? Did they exit in the spring? Did you keep them all year long? Think about those things. So these are just some of the questions that we're going to think about today. So who delivers that Tier 2? This is straight from the WCS RTI manual. And it will be updated with all of the new changes. But this is going to stay the same. If you look, it says Tier 2 interventions must be delivered by an appropriate licensed classroom teacher and or through the collaboration with a specialist, including the math coach. If using a program for Tier 2 services, only individuals who are adequately trained may deliver the intervention as intended with fidelity to design. So notice the things that we're going to go through today, all of these different resources, because you've come today, you have been adequately trained. Yay! All right? So this is something that's a little bit new this year. Last year for Tier 2, we really didn't have a whole lot of resources to choose from. And teachers were going all over Google, Pinterest, Teacher Pay Teacher, trying to find things that they could do in their RTI groups. And so what ended up happening was a group got together of math coaches and classroom teachers, and they have come up with these vetted resources. So these are the resources right now that you as a Tier 2 provider, this is where you're going to go to find your resource to teach that small group. So it's going to have to come from something that is on this list, okay? And these are the resources that we're going to be going through today. I know that not every school has every single one of these resources, but you would be surprised at the things that are in your building. So you need to go to your math coach first and foremost and say, what of this list do I have available to me? And then when you get that chance to explore some of these resources, if you find out something that you really, really like, ask your math coach and your administration first to see if you already have it. It may already be in your building, okay? We're going to go through and look at several of these, not necessarily every single one. But if you've noticed with this particular checklist, it tells you what that program can be used for. So for instance, Bridges Intervention, it's an all-inclusive, which means it's going to cover the fluency piece, that computation part, and it's also going to cover the problem-solving piece. And you can just kind of look down the list. There are a couple that just cover the fluency expectation, and there are a couple that just show the problem-solving piece. The ones that we're going to do, we're going to talk about the all-inclusive and then one of the fluency pieces, okay? Note, if you see something on there and you're like, man, I love this program at my school. I love this book that I've been using. It had great results. Look at the data, all this kind of stuff. If you see that and it is not on this list, all you need to do is you need to email Tracy Edwards, and she's just tracy.edwards@wcs.edu. Carbon copy your math coach on it and just say, hey, I would like for you to look at this particular resource and then see if it's going to be one of those that could be part of this vetted resource list. Okay?